Where am I? Wait. I'm outside the horror! Hang on. Something's not right. Sand and sun? Well, that's nothing new. Dry desert wind that makes me want to peel off my skin? Nah, excuse me, I need to find out what in Hades is going on here. I certainly didn't expect my portal in a bottle potion to open. So, this'll just have to do. Many of you looking at the title probably want me to rant and rave about the Mary Sue. You, my friend, have unleashed a horde of demons I've kept bottled up inside me for years. Now it's time for Ransom's unpopular opinions. Let me just preface this by saying I don't pretend to be an authority, these are just my opinions, and you can take them or leave them. The Mary Sue. No OC creation video is complete without it. And it's absolutely ridiculous. So, by the almighty power of Celestia, let it be no more. Okay, at one point I am sure the Mary Sue had a meaning that wasn't so vague as to just be perfect. And sometimes the definition can be a great platform to springboard critiques off of. However, in worthwhile critiques, I don't think it should be used. At all. Even in YouTube videos that give tips on character creations, most often they just say, "Don't make your character a Mary Sue," and then expect the viewer to understand. That part particularly gets under my skin, and has been for quite some time now. Because nowadays, I see the Mary Sue often applied as a buzzword to insult the writer or artist or what have you, and so it has become the equivalent of calling an anime fan a weeaboo or Lolita an Ita. It's just hurtful, and it's to be feared because every single person who wields a keyboard can swiftly type and enact their justice on the poor fanfic of their choice. Speaking of fanfics and their critics, in character creation, the stigma of OCs has become so apparent that when a beginner or even intermediate writer comes up with something new, they tend to discard it for something dull and boring, in fear of rejection. And don't get me wrong, there are some writers who can't take a well-thought-out critique, and that is frustrating. I get that. I do get that. And the term Mary Sue is a very negative, eye-catching word. However, no one needs to resort to name-calling. A good critique points out and quotes aspects of their story or character, saying, "These are the things that I think are wrong, and here's an idea on how to get you started changing it." And if you can't say why you're using the term Mary Sue, then I don't think you should be giving a critique. I have no problem if you use the word Mary Sue talking to a friend, but online posting on somebody's artwork that they slaved over and put a lot of thought into, it's lazy. It's just plain lazy. And pretty useless if you can't articulate why the character is bad, as it gives them nothing to go on. In essence, their character being called a Mary Sue has become something that everyone fears and so consciously tries to avoid, often resulting in a reaction like this from their readers.
God! God!
But, because they didn't break out of the mold, everyone praises them, and it sounds like some kind of cult, you know. New writers who have big ideas tend to be ripped to shreds or told they're not good enough. They can't get better without being told the good and the bad. Good and bad critique ensures that they begin to notice their strengths and their weaknesses, so giving a balanced critique lets them know what to improve. I have been on the receiving end of a just negative critique, and it left me floundering on what I could improve, and it made me think that I could just, say anything and it would be better than whatever I had written, because I didn't know what I did well, and I couldn't play to my strengths. And I'm the kind of person whose strengths are explosive fantasy, mythology, history, or references to black and white movies. That's my preference, so with a choice between Alicorn or Slice of Life fanfictions, I'm gonna go with Alicorn every time, even if it is a Mary Sue, but Slice of Life is just not interesting to me. It doesn't stick out in my mind as much as drama or action. Yeah, some Slice of Life can be interesting and relatable, I'll give it that, but if you guys have any life like I do, you could write a frickin' soap opera from it. The point is, do you want to relate to a dull slice of life, or do you want to love? Do you want to hate? Do you want to cry? Do you want to idolize these characters in a story if it destroys the world, even if it isn't too well written? And to be honest, I find slice of life in the fanfiction realm is the hardest piece of literature to write, because writers tend to fall into that trap of trope and cliches. In conclusion, if there's something that I don't like on the internet, it's the Mary Sue as a concept. The word has become a fear tactic disguised as a seemingly eloquent way to say, I don't like your character, but I won't say why, infer your own meaning from the word. So instead of helping them, you're more likely to be ignored or just crush somebody's aspirations. And I think that we forget, on the other side of these computers, there are people that are going through a lot of crap, just like you and I. Praising somebody is great. Tell them what they did right, and if you feel that something is bugging you, then say what they could do better next time. They may or may not ignore you. And I'm just gonna say this, I have absolutely no qualms with a character that's in love with a main character or a side canon character. I have no qualms with being related to a canon character. I mean, Applejack has a really large family. It's reasonable to assume that if you have the name that makes sense, like Apple or possibly Pie, who am I to say you can't do that? And freaking crap, we didn't know about shining armor until a Canterlot wedding. Who am I to tell you what you can and can't do with your own character? And generally on the internet, there's a spoken, unspoken etiquette about giving critique, and it's generally only when asked for. So this has been Queen's Ransom, and these are my 2 bits on Mary Sue's. It kind of moved into critiques, but hey, you don't have to take my word as gospel. Go wild, my friends, I bid you wale. I hope you enjoyed this little rant.